Hello, welcome. As you can see, I am filming this from my impromptu closet vocal recording booth. Like myself, it is very much a work in progress, but it is still the best place for sound in my apartment at all hours, so this is where we are filming. I do suppose we could do some sprucing up, though. Perfect. Imagine buying printer ink in this economy. I'm going to apologize in advance to start here. I've written out some of the finer points of whatever this is, just so that I could try to make them as accessible as possible. But things are definitely going to slip through the cracks here, and if anything doesn't make sense, you're lacking that critical piece of Pokemon knowledge to be tall enough to ride the ride, please let me know in the comments. And I will be obligated to answer you by nature of including this introduction. So, and to be clear, when I say anything, I mean anything that I'm talking about in the video. Not anything at all. Like, why do my feet hurt? Or why do they call them cloudberries? Because they don't grow in the clouds. That's a letdown. Pokemon. It's a game. You're a kid in a world without child labor laws where you meet a professor who tasks you with going out and documenting all the wacky critters out in the wilderness called Pokemon. Along the way, you battle using the Pokemon you've befriended against a bunch of other trainers, including but not limited to a rival, an evil organization with a bunch of grunts and mid-level leaders, and then a final boss. 8 gym leaders, 4 Elite Four members, and 1 champion. And that's the game. Always has been, and probably always will be in some form or another. Long ago, in the far-off year of 2002, which is 20 years ago, Game Freak released the 3rd generation of Pokemon games with Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Sapphire. 2 years later, me and my older brother Jacob would finally stop huffing the cold air out of the waist-high freezers at Trader Joe's long enough to get our grubby little hands on these games. Although technically, my first game was Pokemon Fire Red. A month later, I would inherit my brother's copy of Pokemon Sapphire when he got a used copy of Ruby. But that is besides the point, brother. Generation 3 was, features-wise, a huge generation, and dare I say, the GOAT in terms of how it's steered Pokemon history. Gen 3 introduced weather, double battles, Pokemon natures, Pokemon contests, 2 certified fresh, rivaling villain teams instead of just the 1. Can we do that again sometime? I mean, even the Pokemon box got graphics in Generation 3. It used to be just text, dog. I mean, look at that. It's sad. But the biggest thing I'm sure you think I've missed, if you're a real Apricorn Andy like me, I got nothing better than that. Oh, yeah, okay. But the biggest thing I'm sure you think I missed is the addition of Pokemon abilities. I would argue that Pokemon abilities are basically as, if not more important than a Pokemon's typing in terms of determining their identity. Can you imagine the sloth Pokemon if they didn't take every other turn off to nap or cast form, if it was just like the most boring version all the time? But you see, there's one Pokemon in Generation 3 that in this sense went above and beyond. And with new games on the horizon and no confirmed sightings whatsoever, I'm worried that they may be trying to write him out of the history books yet again. The Pokemon that I am here to convince you deserves more love and attention because Game Freak sure as hell isn't giving it. My favorite Pokemon, the one and only Shedinja. Shedinja is a Pokemon with one of the most broken abilities of all time, Wonder Guard. What this ability does, if you don't know, is make them immune to all attacks that aren't super effective. And to be clear, a Pokemon can have up to 2 types. It can be any of these, and if a move is of a type that beats your opponent's type, that's a lot of damage. So for Shedinja, Wonder Guard makes them immune to all attacks from 13 out of 18 types. So if your opponent doesn't have one move with either Ghost, Fire, Flying, Dark, or Rock typing, that's free real estate. Now you might think, this is absolutely busted. And it is. But there is one small caveat that makes this all balance out. My man's only got 1 HP. Yep. So, if your opponent does have a move that works, 1 hit. That's all it takes. But I just can't help but love this guy. I mean, he's just the coolest. Look at him. Huh? The way you get a Shedinja in-game is completely unique. No other Pokemon is acquired this way. So Shedinja is one of the 2 evolved forms of a Pokemon called Nincada. The other one being Ninjask. I spit. Normally what happens is if you evolve a Nincada at level 20, it turns into a Ninjask. I spit. However, if you have an extra spot in your party and an extra Pokeball in your bag, Shedinja jump scare. I remember the moment when I evolved an Nincada on my first playthrough and came out to my party screen to find this guy just there. That was one of the most simultaneously haunting and exciting things I maybe have ever experienced in gaming. It was incredibly formative for me in how I enjoy games to this day. It felt like I had stumbled upon something undiscovered, something that like broke the boundaries of what I was to expect from the game. And that is cool. I also remember some kids didn't even know how to get one, because even if they evolved in Nincada, they could still mess up by like having a full party or no Pokeballs in their bag. They had to be just Pokeballs, like no other ball type would work. So yeah, it felt pretty special. Okay, reason number 2 to like Shedinja, the typing. Shedinja is the only ghost bug type in existence. There are no others. How many Pokemon overall do you think have unique typings? It's actually kind of a lot. It's like 90 or so. So, and also like on that list, like 6 of them are Rotom. So like if you were just looking at the list, like glancing at it, you kind of wouldn't really notice Shedinja, because it'd be like, oh wow, why are there so many Rotoms? That's weird. Oh, because of the, yeah, that makes sense. But still, like, even from what I'm trying to say is, even from the perspective of like Pokemon with unique typings, it's like not really, Shedinja's not super. Okay, I promise it gets better, because reason number 3, the lore, people. The lore, you gotta love the lore. The Nincada Shedinja Ninjask I spit line is based on cicadas. You know, those bugs that come out in the summer and make the droning noise. What happened with the like 17-year cicada thing that happened recently? Like what happened with that? Is that maybe? Anyway, as Nincada evolves into Ninjask I spit, it leaves behind this husk, right? That was sort of covering it during evolution or its previous form or something like that. This husk then becomes possessed, and that is Shedinja. It's pretty cool, right? I mean, it's kind of mysterious. What would want to possess this husk? You know, like, what is its goal? What's its motive? You know, what's its moment before and moment after? You know? How old is the spirit? You know, does it know that they have the screen at McDonald's now? Does it know that Stuart Little would beat Remy Ratatouille's ass in a fight if they were to go all out because he has superior air power and ranged weapons? I bet it does. I personally subscribe to the idea that evolved Pokemon are really like the same being as their pre-evolved form, right? I think this is mostly based on having seen the show, and there's that one episode where Ash is he gets the Thunderstone and they're deliberating whether or not to evolve his partner. I remember part of the deliberation being like, will it be the same guy on the inside, you know? Like, or does something happen when you evolve, right? An interpretation of this is maybe that evolved Pokemon are basically the same, but in the sense that, like, do you believe if you teleported from like point A to point B, like however the teleporting works, you know, is it that the same guy over there, or did I like die here and that's just like a clone of me over there, you know? I think that might be the case, right? And from that perspective, I think that maybe the thing that possesses the husk is the Nincada, right? Like, what would be right there at that moment that would want to have some sort of attachment to this husk? I mean, Exhibit A. So Shedinja, in this sense, is maybe the only Pokemon that whose like essence, whose spirit is preserved post-evolution. You know, and now that I think about it, actually, it's kind of, there's an uncanny amount of ghost Pokemon in existence. So if every time a Pokemon evolved, they like simultaneously died and gave birth, I feel like that would probably balance the numbers out. Although now that I think about it, if a ghost Pokemon evolves, does that still apply? Or is it like, would you get a ghost of a ghost? Can we go infinite? Anyway, there's also some cool lore about how if you look at the hole on Shedinja's back, you'll get your soul like sucked out of you and stolen. And that is the perspective with which we exclusively view Shedinja when we're battling. So, oopsies. Okay. Yeah. That's all I got, I guess. That's it. It took a little bit, but I think that I should have done a good enough job to explain why Shedinja is so cool and why you should be a fan. So, yeah, you should be a fan now. Welcome to the club. And that's where I would like to end this, but unfortunately I cannot. See, now that you are a devout member of the 1 HP posse, it befalls me to inform you that we are under attack. For years now, it seems the people over at Game Freak and the Pokemon Company have been trying to silence us. They are not the benevolent creator gods that they would have you think them to be. I imagine that despite having given birth to Shedinja, they must have feared the creation. A Pokemon designed so based surely might one day attempt to usurp them. And so they have been methodically stripped of their status. Bit by bit, game by game, time and time again, their seat in the pantheon, drifting, then falling, plummeting further and further, until now, where it hangs on the precipice. And so I ask you now, will you? What? Yeah. Okay, yeah, that was too much. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I got a little worked up. I didn't mean to go off script like that. We can, yeah, okay, we'll start from there. Okay. All right, cool. Let's just look at the facts, people. Shedinja first appeared in Generation 3, but the next time they would be in a game's regional Pokédex, that is, that you can catch them naturally in the game, would not be until Generation 6 with X and Y. That is a gap of 9 mainline Pokemon games and 11 years. What the hell? I mean, sure, you could still trade them up from the Generation 3 games on the Game Boy with a bit of elbow grease and some friends. But really? Game Freak? Like, you'll put a Zubat in every cave, but leave my boy out here begging for scraps? Oh, what the fuck? And 11 years is a long time, right? I was a Shed stan on day 1, so I'm jaded now. I'm fully jaded. Time and time again, I've been excited for a new Pokemon game, been planning my roster, seeing, oh, look at the cool new starters. We got all the legendary Pokemon, you know, planning my team, leaving a spot open, and always getting let down. But this time, with the new game mechanic, terastallizing, if Shedinja isn't in this one, it's going to hurt so bad. I've been saying for years, more Wonder Guard type variations would be sick. I mean, the guy's got a hole in his back. Slap an elemental stone in there, see what happens. And now you're telling me In Scarlet and Violet, all it takes is you grow a fountain on your head and you're a water type all of a sudden. Like, come on. This is the moment for Shedinja. I mean, you can literally change mid-fight the resistances that you have access to. The depth of the gameplay there would be cool as hell. At the same time, the new auto-battling feature makes me think that they probably cut them. We've seen from the new gameplay footage that you're supposed to be able to send your Pokemon out now into like the field to just battle random wild Pokemon without you there and gather items, you know, grind a little bit of experience. And you know, I think honestly this is a welcome addition. I think it's cool. I know there's an array of opinions on grinding in video games, and no, I'm not talking about with soap shoes, but the way the mechanic is shown to work is that as the Pokemon forage and fight, they gradually lose health. So how would that work with Shedinja? Like, I doubt the mechanic is robust enough to handle Pokemon abilities into the you know, auto battling calculations, right? Like, that's not what it's there to do. What would happen? I mean, realistically, right? Shedinja would either die immediately when they encounter Pokemon that could beat them, or they'd forage forever. And personally, I think that, I mean, either of those outcomes is funny to me, right? I'm a fan. But, you know, thinking about it from the dev's perspective, it's probably a lot easier to just cut the outlier case out altogether. As the saying goes, the tall nail gets sent to a farm where we can't see them anymore, but they'll always be thinking of us. So look, I know if they're in the new games, the die has probably already been cast. They probably won't have time to squeeze them in after I post this, whatever this is. And I know I'm saying that as if this is something that would even make them want to do that. But I don't know. Maybe if they're not in now for like a DLC or something someday. Or if they're in the game, then, and I'm speaking to you directly now, Game Freak, just show me that they're in the game. Just show me that they're in the game, okay? I don't know they're in the game. It's driving me crazy. I've made this whole fucking production about it. Just show me they're in the game, okay? And then I can finally sleep normally again for like, I don't know, however many days until the game comes out. Yeah, I don't know. I guess, and for everybody else, again, talking to anybody else, if you saw this and you feel motivated to act somehow, I'm not a big social media guy, but maybe you can throw a hashtag up somewhere. Hashtag better shed than dead. Hashtag Terrasta lies, more like Terrasta why not Shedinja in the game. Okay, I'm getting loopy now. I'm getting so fucking loopy now. It's hot in here, by the way. I don't know if I stress this enough. Putting on the Big Bird sweatshirt was not the right choice. In the future, if I'm going to do this again, I think I should probably just be naked. Don't put that in. As for me, though, I will be engaging in my personal form of protest and time-honored tradition of completing an entire Pokemon game with Shedinja as my only Pokemon. I will be doing this live on my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/spacebrogabe at the day and time that I will display now, because I do not know it when I am recording this. I'm also going to declare now the stream will not stop until I at least beat the first gym, which is the Rock-type gym run by Rourke. And a little pop quiz for you there if you remember what those super effective types were from earlier. Come hang out. It'll be a good time. I promise. Yeah, that's going to do it for me. So, if you made it this far in the video, hey, thank you so much. Maybe consider, you know, a like and subscribe situation. If you're that into it. And, I don't know. I'll see you next time I have someone else to rant about. Yep. Cowabunga. Peace.